You played in some very good teams. How good do you think this City team is? Or do you think they have to win the treble to be truly considered the greatest?
Well, I don't know about the greatest. I think that's a hard debate, but they're clearly a fantastic team. And they have been for a good while now. And so, huge credit to that consistency of doing it year in, year out. I think on those levels, I think they probably are coming very close to the greatest team. And obviously the cherry on top is to win and keep winning and win Champions Leagues, etc. And the form they're in at the minute, you wouldn't want to bet against them on anything. So huge credit to the club. I worked there for a year. I understand it quite well, the manager and the players, because it's a really strong and smooth machine. So full respect for them.
Any more, Gav? You okay?
You told
Good
me
with that?
one.
I said you could do more than one.
You said
Okay. Alison, Phil?
Okay. Frank, City can obviously win the title this weekend. Have you thought about maybe doing a guard of honour if Arsenal drop points?
And it's done.
Yeah.
I haven't, but we could do. We would do. I remember getting that myself as a player, and I thought it was something very respectful. So yeah, I'd have no problem with that at all.
You've already got a point at the Etihad, albeit with another side. How much has that kind of helped you with your preparation for this game?
A little bit, but different players here, different situation here. Possibly City in a different moment themselves. So there's lots of contributing factors to how we want to prepare for this. Having had that experience, but having also seen their form that they're in at the moment and the problems that they give you. So it's just a small part of our prep really in our heads, and not really for the players as such.
Just want to throw a terrible stat at you, I'm afraid, but Haaland scored 36 Premier League goals, which is the same as the entire Chelsea squad. I mean, what do you like most about him as a player? What impresses you, and what have you done to combat him being creative this weekend?
Well, it's a fantastic stat from him. I know the Chelsea side isn't, but it's another story. But I've got a huge respect from the player. As a player I tried to bring to Chelsea the first time I was here. And was really keen to get him here. Obviously that couldn't happen, but his level at that point was very clear as well. We played against him in a pre-season game, Salzburg, and it was fantastic. So credit to him. I love seeing players at that level. I love seeing players with that personality and level of hunger to play and be the best, which he's proven himself to be. And in terms of having to deal with him, I think you have to have obviously a plan and an idea. But players of that level can make anything happen at any moment. So I'm sure the players have a good awareness of him, and you have to be at your best to try and negate the things he does.
I just want to ask you something more personal. Some of the greatest managers always say that you learn the most about management in the hard times. What have you learned the most with this stint that you've been through that you feel will help you more in the future? I know there must be so many things, but is there something that stands out?
I think some simple things more than big detail. I think to compete in the Premier League, you have to have big motivation, big training ethics, big standards at a club, or it's very difficult. And I kind of knew that anyway because I played here for a long time. But unless you have those things, the tactical detail and the edge at the back end will not matter, because no game plan ever works without intensity, and that's something that will always remain in football, and even more so as the game moves forward and gets faster.
Moves, talk sport.
Hi Frank, you well?
Yeah, really well, thanks.
You just mentioned there you tried to sign Haaland, and you obviously said about his stats this season. Can you think of a striker you played with who's had a similar impact on the Premier League as him? Someone like maybe Drogba, I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't compare him to Didier because they're two different individuals in different moments at their clubs, and but of course as a Chelsea person, Didier had that impact over a long period of time, and Haaland's just started out and his impact has been more instant, and that's a big credit to him because how he's managed to do that coming straight to the Premier League. Some people doubted that a little bit, and I think that he's proven that for starters, but Didier over a really sustained period did huge things for this club. I don't think there's a direct comparison, but they're both obviously great strikers.
Mikel Arteta said to me this morning that City are arguably the best team in the world, which is a statement in itself. But are they good for English football if every year, and this will be the third year in a row they've won the title, fifth year in six, are they good for English football that every year they're so good?
I don't think at this moment you can argue with that. I understand Mikel's saying in his words, but I think they are the best team in the world, and is it good for English football? Yeah, why not? Because I think you have to push the standards of the league, and others have to react to that. We have this incredible brand here where the leagues improve year on year. As far as I see it, the competitive nature of staying in the Premier League, making the top four, and Manchester City have set standards, and the rest of the league have to try and aspire to that. It's not easy because obviously they've done things very clinically in a really good way over a number of years. But I think if we all take away our rivalry feelings, if you are a rival of Man City, you can't be anything but impressed by the nature of their game, how they play. Especially watching them the other night, it was fantastic to watch. So I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
You mentioned they're setting standards. Are they a barometer for Chelsea going forward next season? You've got some outstanding players at this club, and I think the club's underachieved this year. Are they a barometer for Chelsea next season?
I think it's hard to call them a direct barometer, because when you say set standards, that's like a sort of casual look at it. Standards have to start from the beginning. So for me, standards are every player that's in that squad is for pushing to get into the team. So the players that play know that if they don't have intensity and don't run and don't do these things, the next man will come in and do it. And that's something to be worked on in terms of recruitment and how you build a squad and how you build a mentality. So if that's the barometer, then there's a lot of work to do for us here to try and get to that.
And finally, you've had a spell here again now, which will end in the next couple of weeks. I know it's been tricky. I know the results haven't maybe gone the way you wanted to, but have you enjoyed it?
I have enjoyed it. I get asked it a lot, and you want to always get results. You have to be realistic in football. And when I came into this, the Champions League dream that everyone talked to me about when I first come, it's been done before. Can we do it again? I think the realistic answer was we're where we are in the league for a reason. And our view at that point was to try and beat Madrid and then possibly City to get to a final. So that was a difficult one. And then in terms of the rest of the job is how many sort of small wins can I try and impact behind the scenes. Can't always impact results. And as I say, generally there's a lot of work to do here. But can I have little small impacts with certain individuals within the group, because I have a big feeling for the club. So when I walk away, I wanted to be able to say I've done that. So I enjoy coming to work to try and improve players. And the ones that want to be improved and are good to work with, I think then they will have impressive careers here and going forward. So yeah, I've enjoyed that side.
Good to see you again.
Cheers, thanks.
Nick, BBC 5 Live.
From what you knew of Haaland, when you saw him arrive at Manchester City, did you think he would hit the ground running as fast as he had, or did you think he might be a player who would need a season or two to adapt to the Premier League as other players have in the past?
No, I think he's special. I thought he'd adapt straight away, just for his level.
So you literally thought he was going to score hatfuls of goals straight away, no need to adapt?
I didn't consider it that closely, but I just think with the level of player and his record of scoring, firstly in Austria, secondly for his country, and then in the Bundesliga, which is not an easy league, to come into a really good unit already, that's something that's obviously a recipe to really help him. And then the rest is just credit to himself and the team around him. But I did expect that. It's not just an easy hindsight answer. I've got a real respect for the player. And
how much do you think, what if you'd have been able to bring him to Chelsea, what might have happened?
Yeah. I did. Listen, I don't know whether he would have decided to come here anyway, but I was a big fan of that. And other than that, there are some of those that happen, aren't they, that people don't know about, or what could have been this way. People talk a lot about mistakes or things that could have been in football. Whether he would have come here, I don't know, but I was pushing big, and on a few other players at the time, but he was the outstanding one.
Did he get close?
He'll only know the answer to that.
As a player who has had to fight on different fronts at the end of the season, maybe pursuing a title and other silverware as well, how much of an opportunity have you got to catch Man City a little bit distracted? Or is that just not going to be possible?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they look like a team that are in a really good run of form and have got a lot of motivation and have shown it in their game. So I don't know. Who knows how the game pans out on the day? But at the same time, when you see them just keep churning out these sort of wins and performances and have a really strong squad, you have to expect the best version of Manchester City. So what I expect is the best version of ourselves in terms of our performance. Whether we win the game or whatever, the players have to put in a performance to show respect for ourselves and pride of playing for Chelsea.
And you quickly, last one there.
Yeah, sure. And you can influence the title race, can't you? You and your players. This is an opportunity to sort of be on the biggest stage again in the league, which has been a very difficult season, but you could really put the cat among the pigeons if you get a result.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that personally. I think the players shouldn't be either. They should worry about them, the responsibility of themselves going and play, and that's the title race is the race for City and Arsenal. So from our part, I think there's no eyes on it from that way.
Okay, last two in this section. Simon at the back, and James Ollie to finish. Simon.
Hey Frank, it's a bit similar to what Nick just asked about how close it got. Did it get to the stage with Haaland that the clubs were talking about fees, were bids made or anything like that? And the second question was just any sort of players coming in, fitness-wise, any players ruled out?
What stage did it get to? From our point, as I say, I was certainly pushing it. I'm not sure what the appetite was everywhere else in the club to do it. The competition was big to take him because of he was an outstanding player, and I think there was a buyout clause at the time, which was relatively reasonable, maybe considering the player, and so all those things. I don't really know. I don't have enough detail, Simon, to say how close it was, as I say. So sort of by the by in a way, really. And then injury-wise, we're pretty much similar to where we have been recently in terms of Mason, Reece, Chile, N'Golo, Marco Corella, not fit. Cooley's been training. Koulibaly's been training with us for this week, but it's probably not really ready for a game like this. Just he's ahead of schedule, to be fair. And Benoit has injured himself in training 2 days ago with his groin, and will miss the game, and we're assessing that now as we speak.
Okay, last question, James.
Frank, I know it isn't official yet, but can you give us a reaction to the sort of widely reported news that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be?
Not if it's not official, no.
Have you spoken to him yet?
No.
Okay, end of that. Cameras off, please.